Let's go, girls.
It's about growing personally and professionally.
What's the one thing that really drives you, that really drives your passion?
It's about climbing the ladder or opening a new door.
Too many people give up too early on their dream.
It's about enjoying your professional journey.
I enjoy what I do.
It's about keeping things real.
So the interview is an interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
But I knew that there was something else I wanted to do with my life. I knew I wanted to help people.
This is Up or Out with Connie Fife.
You love your voice. You need to be on radio.
And now, your host, Connie Fife.
Hi, this is Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva, and welcome to the Up or Out with Connie show. I am so super excited because we got some really great news this past week. Before, when I was on my old network, I was on iHeartRadio and SiriusXM and Stitcher and so many networks. I mean, we're hitting 900 stations around the globe. So about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I had left my network and went independent as Connie Fife with the Up or Out with Connie. And since that time, we've rebuilt our message. We've rebuilt our relationships with all of these networks, except two that were still remaining. And we finally got confirmation that we have been picked up by iHeartRadio and SiriusXM. It came last week, and I was doing my crazy lady dance because I was just so super excited about that. So we are, that number now has increased. Our listener base, we're up to, including all of the networks, the C-Suite network, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, iTunes, Stitcher, and so many others that are out there. We're hitting nearly 2 million listeners. That is so exciting for us. You know, I mean, the Fife team, and we're just overly so excited about this is happening. But I want to thank you, because without you, without our listeners, this wouldn't happen. So I'm going to continue to ask you, listen to the show. We hope you enjoy the show. Let me know if there's some more topics or something more relevant that you want to talk about, whether that's women in the C-suite, moving up in corporate, moving out in corporate, learning more about the Up or Out network. We want you here. And then also head on over to iTunes and look for Up or Out with Connie, and make sure you subscribe to our page, because again, without you, none of this would be happening. So I want to thank you. Thank you all for what you do. I am here to serve you. And again, let me know what it is that I could do for you, and we'll continue to make this the most awesomest show on the airwaves. So let's get back to our show really quick. So let's start out by asking you the question I always ask. Do you have that desire to move up in the boardroom? Are you still concerned that you're not being heard? Or are you dreaming about entrepreneurism? Well, we got it all for you. And that's what we bring to you each week with our guests. And today we have a woman who is kicking ass. She is making it happen in the C-suite. And we're going to get to her just in a couple of minutes, but I still have some housekeeping that I need to take care of. So let's start with our quote for today, which I thought was pretty awesome, pretty relevant for today and what we're going to be talking about. And the quote is, tell that negative committee that's way deep inside your head to sit down and shut up. Push them away. Tell them to go away. If you're a woman C-suite and you want to make it happen, we're going to help you make that happen, and we're going to help you get there. So today's challenge question for that is, how committed are you to achieving excellence? How committed are you to achieving excellence? Because only you can make that happen. So stay tuned. We're going to go jump off really quick for our sponsor break. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva, your host of Up or Out with Connie. I am thrilled to be a headline show on C-Suite Network, where you can grow your brand, grow your tribe, and be unstoppable. We are the hottest podcast for entrepreneurs, C-level executives, and market leaders. And you can hear me each week right here on the C-Suite Network. Also on Conscious Business Network, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, and over 900 stations around the globe. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable. We're back and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie, and it's time to turn up the volume. And always stay tuned to the end of the show because you never know. We might just have some exciting giveaways for you. So let's just jump right into our guest now. And our guest, she is the CMO for Liberty Tax for the past 18 years. Prior to joining Liberty, she was Director of Communications for Jackson Hewitt. She graduated from Denison University with a degree in communications in 1979. Today, she represents 6% of women in the C-Suite. 6% of women in the C-Suite. Welcome to Up or Out with Connie. Martha O'Gorman. Hey, Martha, how are you?
Hey, Connie, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, thanks for being here. And I know you are the Chief Marketing Officer. And my gosh, you've been doing it for 18 years. That's a record in many businesses.
Well, that's what I'm told. I think the last statistic that I heard about it was that most CMOs last about 24 months. So I think I'm probably in an elite class of women in the C-suite, and especially with the longevity that I have experienced with Liberty Tax.
So, and I watch those numbers, those percentages, and again, 6% of women in the C-suite. Now, let's take that with women with the longevity. That probably drops down to about 2%. Because it's just not. And you know, I come from the nonprofit background, and I had someone who was director of development for an organization I was working with, and she had said to me, she's like, I think it's time to change jobs. And you're right, it was like 24 months. And, you know, somebody else had even said to me, and I was also coaching her senior director, and he said, how often do these people change, especially fundraisers, marketing people? And I said, it's about 24 to 36 months. Mm-hmm. You could expect them to be gone. But what's really, really interesting is I'll start working with a new company, and their marketing person will be somebody that I knew from a different company. So it's like all in that vein, all in that world. And they're always, you know, they're moving around. So congratulations for that.
Thanks. And I think part of the key to my longevity here is that I'm also one of the original founders of Liberty.
Oh, okay.
This is like my child, and yes. I'm raising it now to maturity, sending it off to college or whatever the case may be. But so I've had a lot of vested interest in being here and staying here. And if you can imagine the changes in marketing with technology and the digital, and you know, we started Liberty, you know, right in the early days of the internet. And so I've really kind of been on, you know, firsthand experience with watching all of that grow and develop. And so it's been an amazing ride.
I bet. So, and I know I've seen my changes from, you know, CEO of a corporation to having to do it myself as an entrepreneur. But, you know, you're still there. You're in that same seat. So what drastic changes do you see, or I guess, how have you adjusted?
Yeah, it's been interesting from the standpoint of, like I said, I was kind of on the ground floor when the internet came on board, and then with all of the digital marketing and then social media. And so I've kind of learned as each one of these new facets has been developed. And it's been really, really interesting, number one. But number two, it's allowed me to stay on the forefront. So I haven't, you know, become a dinosaur. Yeah.
I don't know about you. I think we're about that same generation. I remember when they were coming in, and only certain people had computers. And then only certain people had those passcodes. And then it was, and you can go out there searching for something. Well, then that was only limited to a certain number of people because of the way we did business and the cost of it. At that point, it was cost per person or cost per hits or per links. So it was like very, compartmentalized on who could use that. Mm-hmm. And I remember having to do it to learn how to use a computer because we didn't grow up in that generation. I went to typing classes. So I had a computer in front of me and one of my employees were there and we're sitting there and I could not figure out how to do a copy and paste. Because it was so sensitive. I remember trying to okay, put the mouse down and then drag it. And I'm like all over the place. And I didn't realize I had a crew behind me laughing at me.
Oh, yes.
So I guess at one part they were laughing at the boss and they thought it was great. And I said, okay, I'm like, all of you are going to do this because I don't know what I'm doing. But you have to stay relevant, like you said, you become a dinosaur.
Right.
And just stay on top of all of that technology.
Yeah, and it changes every day. So it's not something that you learn it and then use it. You have to continually learn it and then figure out how to use it as you go along. And I really enjoy it though because it is every day is kind of a new adventure. And it wasn't like that back in the olden days, where you were buying TV and radio and placing newspaper advertising.
Right. And and even for me. I mean, my advertising strategy, I know is different than yours, and you do guerrilla marketing tactics, and I do a bit of that as well. But it's every day. Like, how do you do that? I'm on Google more, I think, every day, just Googling, how do I?
Right. How did we live without it?
I know. It's like, how do I? It's fun. Or I'll call my son. And of course, he's in that area in technology and engineering. And I'll say, how do I do this? And he'll be like, Mom, he's like, what do you do when I'm here? Like Google. And then my daughter, who's a teacher, she's not on. She has a computer, but she's not on that much. And like for her, she'll be like, no, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on LinkedIn. She's not on any social media platform because she's a teacher and her husband is also special forces in the military. She said, no one needs to know what I'm doing, who I am. So she tries really hard to stay out of that area, but she doesn't need to be. So, I mean, I know we're digressing, but I really wanted to learn from you about the campaigns that you've created and creating those memorable campaigns for Liberty Tax and that brand recognition. So tell us more about that.
Well, the whole thing, the whole cornerstone of our marketing is around the Statue of Liberty. And that idea of having the Statue of Liberty as a mascot out on the roadside during tax season was really an interesting story how that came about. We were shooting a television commercial in Washington, D.C., and the response that we got to the person who was dressed up in the Statue of Liberty costume, painted green and what have you, so overwhelming that we said, well, if we can do that here, we can do that anywhere. And that's how it kind of came about. But we've been able to do so much more with it. So we use the Statue of Liberty in a lot of our marketing. We have a lady who actually is our Miss Liberty. We call her Green Rachel because her name is Rachel and we paint her green. Okay. And she comes to a lot of events. She's been in a lot of our television commercials. But the overall idea of having an iconic mascot that people can relate to has been tremendous in helping us build our brand. So when I go someplace and I tell people that I work at Liberty Tax Service, that's the very first thing that they say is, oh yeah, we have one down the street from us and we see the Statue of Liberty out. And so we've been able to build our brand in terms of brand recognition very quickly. And that's how people know us. And
I often wondered with that person out there. Now I have to tell you, the person who we have here locally, she or he, I don't know, but they won the award for the best dancer on the street.
I'm going to have to look that up and see who that is and send them a shout out. That's great to hear.
Yeah. So, and I wondered if that was really bringing people in. So you're saying that it is?
It does. It brings us about a customer for every 2 hours we have someone out. And if you think about it in terms of generating new business, we pay anywhere between $8 and $10 an hour for that person to be out there. So, $20 to get a new customer is really way below what it costs us with other types of traditional advertising.
Right. I mean, if you had to do a billboard, that would way, way, way more. And I don't even know if billboards are that relevant anymore. Maybe depending on what industry it is or what sector it is, it might. But that's just been a question. Do billboards, are they still relevant anymore? Do you still use them for Liberty?
We use them in a very limited way. And what we do is if there's a billboard that's close to our location, then we will typically take a look at it. Obviously, we have to look at the traffic counts and things like that. Right. But if it's very close to a store, that's about the only time that we find we have real impact from advertising.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So, so you talk about marketing on a budget. And I say marketing on a shoestring budget. So besides having someone standing out on a street corner, what advice would you give to a business, a corporate business, or even a startup business? How can they really enhance their marketing on a budget?
Well, the most important thing, I believe, and the thing that we've kind of hung our hat on, is that you have to let people know who you are, where you are, and what you stand for. Those are three very important things when consumers are making a purchasing decision. And the way we go about doing that is very similar to having our waiver on the street corner, but we actually have people that go out in costume with goodie bags, candy or chips or, something that's going to make people welcome you into their establishments. And we go around to the businesses in the area and we hand out the goodies. We coupons behind. We ask the business owners if we can have some of their coupons so we can put them in our offices. So the effort of reciprocity is important. But it's all about being in the community, Connie. I mean, we are very community-oriented. We do festivals and parades, and we participate in nonprofits and lots of different things that make people want to visit our establishment.
We see you as that neighborhood friend, giving back to the community. I didn't know about the goodie bags. I'll have to watch that because I try to stay involved with the community. A lot of my work is, internationally, so I'm not here as often as I would like to be. But when I am, I like to get to some of the events in the community and just let people know that I'm here. Because this is actually a new community for me. I'm here about almost 4 years. I'm from the East Coast. So I'm still getting to really know a lot of the people here and the business owners here. And actually, I'm going to an event in a couple of weeks, and I saw the list of they're bringing in a speaker, and I was talking to somebody at the chamber, another member. They're like, "Yeah, they were struggling for a speaker they didn't know," and I'm like, "Hello,
haven't you heard of me?
Didn't you know? Don't you have telepathy? So, and that's part of getting out and marketing on the budget, or what I like to call creative marketing. And that was all of the work that I always did with nonprofits as well. Creative marketing. Get out in the community. Do things in the community. Don't always wait for somebody to come and do it for you. I know you're a nonprofit, but you still have to give to others in the community too. So that's really relevant. Yeah.
We used to, one of our campaigns, advertising campaigns several years ago was, "It's all good, Liberty Tax is in your neighborhood," because that's what we want people to remember, that we are their neighborhood tax provider.
So you mentioned delivering and dropping off bags to the local businesses. So are you primarily business or individual, or do you have a mix?
We do both. Small business is one of our niches. So anybody that's a sole proprietor or, has a small business, we cater to those folks. And then, of course, individual tax preparation as well.
Okay. Your rates, are they comparable to like H&R Block or any of those other places out there? Because everybody's like, "Oh, it's so expensive to go to go to a service. But I know for me, I'd rather have somebody else do it and protect CYA myself.
Exactly. And, so our rates are comparable to an HR block or another retail tax professional. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, that many, many people go to a certified public accountant and spend double or triple what we charge at Liberty. And for the most part, most people don't need that sophisticated of a service. But as you said, I think it's worth the peace of mind. And a lot of people will pay more to know that they've got somebody to stand behind them.
Definitely. And you've probably heard of this. And I read another article on it this morning, that there's some scam going on. People are getting phone calls from somebody saying, you owe taxes and you're going, lawsuits against you. And I've had them myself over the last couple of weeks. And there was an article about it today. And in the back of my mind, I said, no, I'm good. I had somebody else prepare mine. I'm good. It just gave me that peace of mind, because when you pick up the phone and you hear that, oh, well, there's a lawsuit against you from the IRS. It's like, what?
The IRS will never contact somebody by telephone.
You can't get them by telephone. Never mind having them call you.
And they won't contact you. I mean, they have their processes is all through mail and face. So I would say to anybody, and this doesn't even apply just to taxes, Connie. There is so much stuff going on these days where people are calling on the phone and tricking people into giving their social security number to them. Yes. Never, ever, ever. I don't care who they say they are.
Well, the tax story even happened last week. They called my brother in Pennsylvania, said on his cell phone, said that they were looking for me, because now this was my brother. I was mortified when he called me, and it was like 6:00 in the morning, my time here in the Pacific. He's like, I just got a call from you. Somebody's saying that you owe taxes and they're coming for you. I was like, what? I was like, what? So that's why I've been looking at that. And then again, read that article. It's a scam, but there are so many scams out there. I mean, how many times do we get emails saying, oh, we have $1 million left for you. Just send us your bank account information.
Exactly. So we can drain it.
Yeah, right. So we could drain it. Unfortunately, that is going on. And what was really sad in the article that I read today was that there is no way that they can combat this hidden, whatever it is that's going on, because if they disconnect one phone, they just immediately jump to another phone number. So
that's right.
That's so sad. That's so
sad.
It is. Yeah. So, but Liberty Tax, that's the place to go. So we're going to take a really quick sponsor break, and we will be right back, and we're going to be putting you in the hot seat.
Hi, this is Greg Davis. Connie asked me to pop in for a moment to tell you about a great opportunity. Have you ever listened to a podcast and thought, I should be doing that, but I don't know how, I don't know where to start? Well, Up or Out with Connie Fife has partnered with Park Lane Media Group to offer you PMR podcast production. What is PMR? Production, marketing, response. The 3 key elements you need to successfully build your podcast success. For more information, visit parklanemediagroup.com or email podcast@parklanemediagroup.com and be sure to let them know that Connie sent you. You have a story to tell. We'll help you share it. Come to parklanemediagroup.com today and start building your podcast success.
We're back, and you're listening to Up or Out with WCONNIE. And joining us today is Martha O'Gorman. And Martha, we've been talking about guerrilla marketing tactics being really memorable in the marketplace and marketing on a shoestring budget. And of course, we have Martha, who is one of the 6% of women in the C-suite. So all relevant topics in today's corporate leader and entrepreneurs needing to scale their business. So Martha, before we jump into the hot seat, let our listeners know how they can learn more about Liberty Tax.
Well, the best way to learn about Liberty Tax is our website, which is www.libertytax.com. and that gives you the history of the company. It tells you all about taxes, lots of really, really interesting blog posts there, different topics that people may not realize might affect them. The one that we're seeing a lot of activity on lately, Connie, which a lot of your listeners may be interested in, is this gig economy, and people who are freelancers or doing work. There's some tax implications that go along with that kind of work. So you need to be careful, and you need to make sure that you're prepared for your tax situation.
Yes. And that is a really good point to bring up about the gig economy, because such a high percentage of the population today that are in that sphere, in that area, and they don't set themselves up properly. I mean, see your accountant, your CPA or attorney, or go to Liberty Tax, and they could share some information about that. I know I started right from the beginning, because I was a financial advisor in a previous lifetime. So, I mean, I knew enough to say, okay. But, I mean, there was a chance it was like, okay, we're putting a shingle up and we're going to do this. And there was no preparation. But you really do need to prepare for that. From a tax ID number to liability insurance to making sure that you are putting those dollars away. Because come tax time, Uncle Sam wants you to write that check.
Well, that's true. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes or misconceptions that people have is about Social Security. You still have to pay your Social Security taxes on the income that you generate. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't realize that how that can add up over the course of 12 months. And all of a sudden you go to get your taxes done and you're hit with a big bill. And that's one thing that planning ahead and saving your money, it's really important.
That is. It's really, really important. So good advice. We're going to jump right here and get you right into the hot seat, which is questions that only you can answer. So we've learned about the business. Now we're going to learn about you. So are you ready?
Ready.
All right. What is your favorite business quote?
Oh my gosh, now you're catching me off guard. I would have to say, that it would have something to do with following your dream. And whoever talks about following your dream, that's my favorite business quote.
Good. Well, I was going to say, you have one right behind you. I see dedication.
Oh, that is
if you were stuck.
Yeah, well, that's my award that I got for being the first employee of Liberty Tax Service in my first 15 years, and now I'm on my second 15 years. So I don't know what will happen when I reach 30.
It'll be a bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot more dedication.
Right. So did you know what you wanted to do right from the start? Because, I mean, your degree was in communications. I mean, you're still doing marketing. So is this where you wanted to go when you first started out?
Well, so when I first went to college, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I took my first poli-sci class, and I decided I want to be a lawyer. And I was fortunate enough, college does a lot of things for people. I don't necessarily know that it prepares you for the rest of your life, but it does give you opportunities to find out what you're good at. And I got involved with the college radio station at Denison in my freshman year. And I blossomed. I mean, I had found my niche. And so that's what it's been. I've either worked in radio or advertising. And I would say that if I had to say what was my dream job, I'm living it. Because I get to do a little bit of everything and get to use all my skills, all my talents, and also my passion to make Liberty Tax Service the best that it can be. So I'm living the dream, Connie.
Well, I mean, I could hear it in your voice, and that is, you're doing exactly, and that's where the upper out comes from in the show. Because I myself, again, was in corporate in C-Suite, but then at the other side, I've worked with so many executives in the C-Suite that say, "I love being here, I love what I'm doing, but I don't have that plan B." And that's where the out came in. To at least let's prepare. Let's have that plan B in place. Doesn't mean you're going to use it this week. It could be next year or 2 years, but at least have a plan B. And I know when the Girl Scouts left me, I didn't have plan B. I thought it was going to be a fishmonger. I didn't know what I was going to do. I even talk about I do have a brother who's an over-the-road truck driver, and he's like, hey, I make really good money. You could come join me. I'm like, no. We're not doing it. That wasn't me. No, we're not doing that. So all business leaders, again, we all start somewhere, and we may change. We may take a different road along the way. But what would you say would have been one of your failures that helped you find your success?
I would say that I've had several failures. I lost a job when I was very young, which is devastating. When you're 22 and 23 years old, I felt like a failure, like I would never pick myself up. And then the other was that in an advertising agency situation, we failed. And that's actually how I got my start in taxes, was because of that failure. I started working with John Hewitt and Jackson Hewitt, and then now here with Liberty. So I think that kind of is the typical story, is that, couple failures till you find yourself. And who knows, I mean, who knows what my next failure might be, but I'll tell you one thing, I always learn from them.
Yes, that's the most important thing. You're going to fail. You're going to fail 10 times, but make sure you pay attention to it so you can find that path. Right. So what parting words of wisdom do you have for our listeners, those that are trying to find and pursue that path to success?
Well, the biggest piece of advice is that you need to work hard and you need to persevere, because we all know you're not going to succeed in your first attempt at business, and it may not be until, like you said, till your 10th attempt. But if you give up along the way and just say, I can't do this anymore, that's the biggest failure that you can have. I have always, I'm one of those people that I say all the time when my family members or my employees or anybody says, oh, woe is me.
Right.
You know what? Fake it till you make it. Just keep going and just do it with pride.
Yes. My daughter is always telling me, because, when she was younger, it's like, oh, this boy don't like me. Oh, I got to be on this test. I mean, because she was always striving. And I'd say, honey, did you try your best? Yes, that's all it takes. Try your best. Don't give up. So, but Martha, thank you for being here today. You've been amazing, and you're such an inspiration to so many men and women.
Well, thank you so much, Connie. I really, really enjoyed talking to you today.
And you could also learn more about Martha O'Gorman herself by heading over to LinkedIn at Martha O'Gorman. So that's all we have for today. Martha O'Gorman, Chief Marketing Officer for John T. Hewitt Liberty Tax, the fastest growing tax preparation franchise nationwide. She's an original founder, which I didn't know from the beginning of the show. So again, Martha, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You're welcome. And we all want to avoid that annual trek to the accountant. But there's one thing certain that we all must do, and that is our taxes. So take some of Martha's advice to heart. Make sure you're protecting yourself, because you don't want to get caught in the end with this big tax bill. And so where else do you go for that? Get it done? Liberty Tax Service.
That's right.
So do be sure to subscribe to our page on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And remember, go there and subscribe. Go to Facebook page. When you see the episode, type in the secret word, Unstoppable Together. And that's when all of the freebies are going to start coming your way. So make sure you head over to Facebook every day. Again, when you see a new episode posted, Unstoppable Together is the secret word. Make sure you put it out there. Make sure you hashtag it, #Unstoppable Together. And we will get whole loads of goodies out to you. So it's been great being here with you today. And ask yourself, if you could do something different to get a different result, what would you be doing right now? This is Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva. And until next time, be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable together.